So, there are a lot of gender bends in the Fate series. I personally don't mind it all too much because it has generated a lot of memorable designs and characters, but some of the most interesting historical figures that appear in the game are the ones who were historically female. It is well documented that the deeds of female historical figures tend to be played down a bit or simply go unrecorded or are destroyed. This is coupled with the fact that female leaders tend to be incredibly rare. Take Wu Zetian for example. She is the only known female emperor of China, and China is one of the oldest civilizations that exists. However, this does not mean that women are simply incapable of leading. That brings us to our topic of the day, Qin Liangyu. Just a little aside here. I do not speak any language fluently other than English and some Japanese, so I'm going to try and pronounce these the best I can, but please be patient with me. I know. We know Qin Liangyu as a guardian of Emperor Shi Huangdi, and a loyal spearwoman who hates bandits and loves poetry. Surprisingly, Fate stays rather faithful to how her character was in real life. The primary difference being that instead of serving Shi Huangdi, she served under Chongzhen Emperor, so, for those curious which emperor she's thinking in her NP dialogue, it's him. The other main difference is that rather than wearing a gorgeous white outfit, she wore a special set of armor that can still be seen today in a museum in Shizu, Chongqing, which I would love to go see at some point. Also there is her unique spear, which she is well known for in Fate, but without further ado, let's look into Qin Liangyu. As I mentioned earlier, famous female leaders tend to be somewhat glossed over by history, and unfortunately, Qin Liangyu is no exception. We have details from a single account in the history of Ming, but I will try and give you the details the best that I can. Qin Liangyu was born in present-day Zhang County, Chongqing, to parents of the Miao ethnic group. This is an important thing to mention for several reasons, not the least of which is that the Miao followed the Confucian teachings a bit more loosely, and in doing so were less restricted to women. In fact, today, female members of the Miao group are known for their independence and social freedoms. Take this and combine it with her father being a political figure who believed that girls should have an equal education to boys, and you have the makings for a strong-willed woman. Thus, growing up, Qin Liangyu was educated alongside her brothers and studied the 4 books and 5 classics, which are considered the most important books in Chinese Confucianism. She not only trained her mind alongside her brothers, but also her body, becoming a more proficient martial artist than her siblings. Also, given her upbringing, she was raised very patriotically, and held a deep-seated loyalty to the emperor. Both of these contributed greatly to how effective she was as a general. When a person believes that the cause they are fighting for is just, they will lay down their life to protect that truth. Qin Liangyu would marry in 1595 to a man by the name of Ma Qiancheng, the Tsui of the Zhanfushi of Shizu County. His positions essentially meant that he was a political and military leader for the county that he was stationed in. Titles are a bit complicated. As such, part of his job was to disperse rebellions and to fight to protect his people. He would often rely on the advice of his wife in battle, and on many occasions the pair would fight alongside each other. One such example is when the rebellion of Bozhou broke out. Ma Qiancheng took an army of 3,000 to quell the rebellion, and then Qin Liangyu brought an additional 500, successfully suppressing the rebels. All in all, they had a good marriage, having a son named Ma Zhonglin. But in 1613, Ma Qiancheng was arrested for offending a court eunuch and died in prison. To put that into perspective, essentially a one-testicle-having courtesan was mad at him, so he threw him in prison where he died. With the passing of her husband, Qin Liangyu inherited his title of Zhanfushi. Thus, her regime, known as the White Cavalry, was born. This is likely why the Qin Liangyu that we are familiar with is adorned with the white outfit. With this newfound military force, Qin Liangyu led several successful campaigns quelling uprisings against peasants and bandits, as well as the opposing Manchu forces, who are another ethnic group in northern China. In the year 1620, Qin Liangyu's brother was killed in a conflict against the Manchu, so she led an army of 3,000 personally to the war front in 1621, where she successfully assisted in repelling the invaders. Then, in 1623, she assisted in suppressing the Xi'an rebellion. Now, before I continue, I'm going to stop and explain something important regarding history. It is never black and white. It is rarely as simple as the bad guys and the good guys. The peasant uprisings in China at this time were often due to disagreements with the imperial tax orders. Peasants historically have been treated poorly regardless of where they are. So, While some of these fights that Qin Liangyu participated in were in actual defense of the Emperor and the Empire, some of these, like the Xi'an Rebellion, were quelling tribal chieftains upset by the poor treatment that they were receiving by the government. But then you look deeper into it, and the government really got mad at them for sending not only warriors as a part of their taxes, but also their families who the government had not accounted for, and thus could not take care of. But, rather than make a compromise, it all resorted to violence. See how this gets complicated? Just something to keep in mind when learning about history. Always, always, always ask questions. Anyway, Qin Liangyu successfully helped in quelling this rebellion by 1629. And for her efforts of the Shanhai Pass, she was promoted to regional commander of Sichuan and given the title of Lady. Then, in 1630, she took her troops to the capital to defend against the later Jin, who were besieging Beijing. For her efforts, she was given poems by the emperor. Something that I have not mentioned as much is that in between and during all of her movements, she was also quelling bandit invasions. This is why her third skill is called Banditry Abolisher. This became her primary role during the mid-1630s, seeking out bandit encampments and exterminating them. In 1634, Qin Liangyu and her son personally defeated a peasant uprising led by a man named Zhang Zhongzhong, who would eventually proclaim himself the new emperor of the Ji dynasty. Though Qin Liangyu did not personally kill him, he would be killed later by the Qing army, but that's a story for another time. Qin Liangyu continued fighting up until the fall of the Ming dynasty, which was overthrown in 1644. By the end of the dynasty, she had been awarded the title of Marquise Zhongzhen, and Protector of the Crown Prince, which is the greatest honor a general could receive at the time. But even with the fall of the Ming dynasty, she did not stop her contributions to the people. The Ming dynasty formed a resistance state in southern China, known as the Southern Ming dynasty, and Qin Liangyu still held power over the Shizhou county, which flourished under her. She promoted an agrarian policy that made her county a great place for refugees. In total, she took in over 100,000 refugees and helped them to settle into her county. She died of old age in 1648 at the age of 73, having served a successful military career of 43 years, approximately. She was buried in Yachun Village, Shizhou County, Chongqing. Qin Liangyu holds a special place in history for as little known as she is outside of China. To come from a predominantly male-driven society, she was able to outshine others of her ilk to carve her name into history. To me, she is a fascinating figure and one that I wish we knew more about. So the next time you're using her, take some time to appreciate her because she certainly deserves more recognition. Thanks for sticking through to the end. I hope you guys got something out of this. If you liked it, let me know in the comments, share it with other people to help out the channel, and if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. I've got another video like this, The Making, about Saito Hajime and the Shinsengumi, so stay tuned for that. Also, if there are any other servants that you want to see a video on, please let me know. For now, I'm signing out. Hope to see you again. Peace.